I'm probably more pessimistic about the situation. I think you've got. I really do hope you're right. I really do, and I hope that I start to see positive changes. It just seems to be quite slow coming in this angle because the government is just so really hasn't. They really have no interest in what the Irish think, even if they were to stand up, which they're not really doing. And the Irish government have said they don't care what the Irish think, pretty much.
Well, I think it's even worse. I think they're kind of waging a covert, silent war on the Irish people. You know, it's not even kind of, it's really clear. I mean, for anyone who has, you know, looked into it, other people are, you know, it's very hard to get all the information if you're busy and you're not, you know, you just get your news on the television, and that's totally controlled. It's nearly like China at this stage. You know.
It really is. I was talking to a friend of mine. Now, she'd be very well known. She works for the local council, and she'd be very, you know, she's an intelligent woman, but really some of the things that I was saying to her, she actually thinks I'm crazy. Like, she was looking at me going, Victor, that's not real. And I'm like, of course it's real. This is happening and that's happening. She's like, but really? And it just shows you. And even when I was giving her, like, there's 27% in inner city, on the council list who haven't even been born in Ireland. Never mind just the non-Irish who are born. And they're being prioritised. And she was then kind of going, yeah, like when I was showing her this stuff, she was quite shocked, but she was like going, you know, she really didn't want to believe it. I think it's still a question of they really still don't want to believe this.
It is hard to believe. It takes a while, you know. It takes a while to sink in because you can't believe, you know, when you see, you know, Higgins and everything smiling and everyone around him turning on the Christmas tree and it's all, but behind all that there's a whole big another scene going on behind the scenes, you know, with Soros and you know, the elite, and they're being told, I mean, they're obviously well paid and some of them are bribed to do all this, because in that thing about preparation over ethnic diversity in inner city flats, like 27% of those on the Dublin City Council waiting list now born outside Ireland, you know, they're being told they have to prepare for the increasing ethnic diversity in inner city. It's always the inner city, always the people. They don't aim for Dalkey, but they're aiming, of course, for it.
They didn't call them the Irish. They call them the white population.
Yeah, well, you see the way they are definitely getting instructions in journalism school now. They're definitely being taken off, you know, by Murdoch. The Murdoch Times, I call it, the Irish Times. They're being taken away and being taught how to write this, because they shouldn't be saying white. The traditional flat complexes with majority white communities often feel that they've been there for generations, and the sense of community.
Like, this is crazy.
But they shouldn't be saying white. That should read the traditional flat complexes with majority Irish communities feel that they've been there for generations, and it, you know, the social cohesion and everything will be broken up, because that's what happens. People bring Pakistan with them. They bring, you know, wherever they're from, China or wherever they're from, they can integrate to a point, but some people don't actually want to integrate. They actually want to live in a Western country on a higher wage, but they want to import their own culture. They've no intention of bringing up children as Irish. Some of them don't want to. So they're being targeted, but the cheek of these, this Immigrant Council of Ireland, which is a Soros front fake organisation. They're just a subversive organisation. They're all over Europe. They're funded by Soros, and we have foreign people from God knows where working there telling us that we have to get used to this because things are never going to be the same.
And it really won't
be. That's in the article.
I do believe.
So they're actually telling us they're from Poland or from God, I don't know where they're from, but they're, you know, Teresa, can't even pronounce it, Busawaka or something, working at the Immigration Council. You know, more or less, you better get used to it. You're going to have it. It's going to be.
It's insane that they're hiring all these non-Irish to kind of put non-Irish before the Irish. And there was this country, I was down in Laois, there, I think it's 120 people, ridiculous amount.
That wasn't on the news. Did you see anything on the RTE news about that? Not a damn thing.
And 50 of them are men, right? So nearly half of them are men, right? Now, when they call children, they're probably actually men as well.
Can you believe this nonsense we're getting from our own media?
But they're not families. How could 50, like, that's over. That's, majority of them are men. And they're saying that there's children in there, but the children are usually men as well, like. But the thing is that the locals had to almost beg. They were like saying, we're not looking for special treatment for our own people. We're just looking to be treated the same. And the only thing that they had to say, that they felt it kind of offensive that they were saying our own people. That was the comments. They didn't care that they were like saying, and they were actually asking them. It's like, this is a disgrace. This is their country. They shouldn't have to be begging.
This is a colonisation. That's what people have to get through their heads. And they have to be brave and overcome this mental brainwashing that they're getting every single day, that they're racist. Because actually the racism is towards us. We are targeted for genocide, the whole of Europe and the whole of the West. It doesn't matter if it's Australia, Canada, Australia, all the white Christians, all the West. They want them gone.
Absolutely.
And, this is like 40% of Longford are foreign born. So, I mean, do they want to get to 70%? And then you're colonized. I mean, why were we fighting colonization? It's just the same thing, more of the same. But we are being bullied every day by our own government, and the media, I mean, they need to be whacked, because, I mean, people should really just join the Anti-Corruption Ireland with Gemma O'Doherty, join up, and the first thing to go should be the TV license, because they're literally, like yesterday, there was another 6 foreign nationals that got into a truck somewhere in mainland Europe, and the man driving the truck heard a ruckus or something going on, and he stopped the car. This was, I don't know where he stopped it, somewhere down in country somewhere anyway. And 3 men, 2 women, and 1 child in their 30s. But they won't say it just was on Twitter, they won't say from where. So, you ask RTE, from where? This is not reporting. And they're not foreign nationals, they're illegals. The way they phrase everything to brainwash the public and bring them along in this story, calling them foreign nationals. They are not foreign nationals. They are 6 illegals who were found in the back of a truck. And obviously the man heard something, pulled over, called the Gardaí, and they were taken as usual to the hospital, and then they'll apply for asylum, I suppose. And you never hear from them again. You don't know where they're from. You don't know what nationality they are, when they should be sent right back.
Absolutely.
But this is the kind of crap reporting we're getting. They put these things out on Twitter, RTE. 6 foreign nationals were found in the back of a truck. I think it was Laois or somewhere, but they're not foreign nationals. It's 6 illegals. You see the way they're getting around everything and calling them white communities. They shouldn't be calling them white. They're Irish. They shouldn't be specifying that they're white and pitting one against the other. They're Irish and been there for generations and generations.
Yeah. Not even to say that. I mean, even when you listen to the Irish trying to fight their cases, it's so sad. This is their homeland. You shouldn't even have to explain, that this is their homeland. It belongs to the Irish people. That is why the fight was for 800 years.
It's definitely not going to belong unless they wake up. We are being targeted for total colonisation, totally Ireland. I definitely feel that this Brexit is a ploy. Well, I know for sure it's a ploy, but because they signed the UN Migration Pact, so none of it makes any sense. But I feel they want to unite Ireland, and I think they have a plan for us, but it's not going to be united the way we wanted it to be. It's going to be united, and then they're going to take all the borders away and let everyone flood in.
Oh yeah. Well, I think they don't really want to unite with United Kingdom, and I do think that's why the fight is. I think they wanted to unite it with Europe. Europe is going to be one country. Well, that's what they even said. They said it isn't an Irish border; it's an EU border. It isn't an Irish issue; it's an EU issue. They've taken Ireland and the Irish out of every sentence. Now, when you look at media, every single thing, and that is what Juncker and Tusk have openly said, that it's not an
Yeah,
Irish. And the
even
Irish
then,
aren't up in arms. It's like, this is no longer your border.
it's not a white community, it's an Irish community. They've literally
Yeah.
removed the nationality and replaced it with the ethnic identity, with white.
Yeah, so other white
All the
people
language is being
go
twisted,
behind
and
and go,
people are getting that subliminal brainwash every day. And, eventually they've studied this, they studied this in all these super secret organizations. And they know that if it's repeated enough times, it goes into the brain, it goes into the mind, You can see from
yeah,
the way people are herded like sheep. They'll be herded towards their own slaughter if they don't wake up. And there's
absolutely.
a lot going on. I mean, even the trees are being cut down, and it's all being done covertly. But during the week then, there was somebody that rang into Joe Duffy as well. Philip Boucher Hayes was taking over about the Brazilian, fight in town over the Deliveroo, the gig economy, where they employ people coming in from the visa factories through the language schools, and then they declare themselves as self-employed, which suits the company fine because they are not given vacation time, they're not given any benefits, and then they work for Deliveroo. Well, a man rang in to ask Philip Boucher Hayes, why was there no cover of the story of the incident in Raheny where there was 30 gang members, carrying knives, went in to loot a shop in St. Anne's Park, or opposite the park. And they're apparently going around Clontarf and Balbriggan, but there's nothing in the media about them. Nothing. And on O'Connell Street then on Saturday they had Shane O'Curry from ENAR, another organisation against racism, and he was there with the Brazilians. Why isn't he there doing a demonstration to protect the Irish from those gangs carrying knives, 30 of them going from town to town? There's no demonstration, for the Irish people, or racism, protests against the violence against the Irish people. There's none of that. It's all one-sided.
It's completely one-sided, you're totally right. It's really, and it's so sad the way that they have now started calling the Irish the white, as if, like, it's just so sad, and the Irish having to
It's
defend
almost
themselves.
derogatory. It's like,
Yes.
when they say white, it's almost like derogatory, as if it's something, you can even do something about. You're born that way.
Yeah.
You're not allowed to be.
Skipping all that ancestors and all that we belong to this ancient land and we're an ancient culture. It's like skipping it all over. Just the white population. Like, it's so wrong and so sad. And even to listen to the words and that guy down in Laois trying to fight for his own community and saying our people, which they are, we are each other's people, and saying he's even going as far as saying we're not looking for special treatment, we just want to be treated the same. They shouldn't have to say that. They should be getting special treatment because it is their homeland. Like, this is ridiculous. So sad. And so crazy that we're experiencing this.
It's great that he had the courage to say it. I mean, it took a few years to overcome the brainwash and the propaganda, because it's literally propaganda.
When you see the amount of homeless, like there's 10,000, 4,000 of them are children. So you can't help but feeling, why? What is going on? And, and he can see this and he's trying to fight. But, the only thing that they said that they thought was rude was that he said our people. It's like, come on, what are you
Yes,
explosive
our
thing?
people. Yeah, yes. the ancient Irish people of Ireland that go back, what I think the first written records go back 12,000 years. You know, the alphabet.
It is very, very sad days.
It's actually, it's more than sad. We can't get sad about it. We have to get angry. There's no point in being sad. You have to get angry and get that fire in your belly and wake up. And don't be bullied by a media that's controlled. It's like being in China. I mean, they're soon going to have this 5G all over the country, and you're going to have facial recognition in the streets and everything. It'll be just as bad, just like that thing over there in China with the electric cars where you're scanned, every move you make is watched. And there's huge amounts of felling going on. There's an uplift, you know, where they do petitions. There's a petition at the moment, 5,000 people have signed, to ask the county councils to stop felling the trees. Perfectly healthy trees that they're felling. People don't understand. I've seen on Twitter, people don't understand what is going on because they don't realize it's 5G. This is what it's all about, because they have to be close together, 5G, you know, and it doesn't travel well when there's a tree in the way, so they need to felled like all over. They felled in Kilkenny, in Clare, in Kerry, in Donegal, and apparently on Inishowen. And when you get the train, apparently from Dublin to Waterford as well, all the hedgerows and trees in the middle of towns and everything just being cut and you're left with stumps. And you know what excuse they gave people? I mean, the lies they're telling people. They made some cock and bull excuse that it was at the behest of insurance companies for fear of insurance claims. They're actually claiming that a tree is going to fall down and kill you. When that, apparently statistics show that 1 in 20 million people that has happened to.
It reminds me of when they
are trying to get people to swallow that nonsense.
It reminds me of the time that they told in hospitals that they insisted on taking all, you know, the Catholic statues out of Mary and the crosses, saying that it was for insurance, just in case they fell down. Like, they were there over 100 years. There was no sign of them ever falling down, but it was to accommodate the Muslim doctors. But they didn't want to tell people that.
Well, they use the Muslim doctors, but it's not really even for the migrants. It's for the one world religion, because they need to bring in that transsexual agenda that they have in education. They need to remove all of the signs of, you know, order and kind of logic, you know, any kind of religion or spiritual or morals, any kind of barrier to depravity, and teaching children of 5 about, they don't even know about the birds and bees, never mind about homosexual and transgenderism. They want to teach them at 5 years of age in England, and that by 2020. So, I mean, they have to remove the crosses. They have to remove all of that. But they're going to use the migrants, that they're using them to tell, you know, to give that excuse. But that's not that real reason. You know, they have a whole raft of things they want to teach all the little kids, you know, about, you know, little books and everything with 3 penguins, all sorts of nonsense you couldn't believe. I'll read it out here. They have proposals that include in the curriculum, when is it okay to let someone touch me, for 3-year-olds? Why are we all different? Is it okay to be different, for age 7? Now, why are we all different? We're all different, but I mean, we're all either men or women. Do you know what I mean? We're boys or girls, you know, they want to mix it all up. At 11, children will be able to discuss the differences between a transvestite and a transsexual. Now, 11, imagine at 11, you're supposed to be playing with your ball and you're playing rounders and stuff, friends on the road. You're not supposed to be learning about transvestites and that. All this is nonsense. This is where we're going. And then at 16, how to disclose your positive HIV results to a sexual partner or family or friend. I mean, look at this is what they're bringing in the UK by 2020. And 100,000 people have signed a petition against it. 100,000. And they're still going ahead, bulldozing through. And It'll be in the classrooms, and some people are asking for an opt-out, and some parents want to take their children out of school even. But it's going to be illegal.
Home education, yeah. I heard that they're going to try and stop that, make that illegal. Because obviously people are going to be, they don't want to live to this crap.
People are confused. Like Zapone, she's another agent. That's all there is to it. She was told, Enda Kenny was told to plant her there, and she was planted.
Yeah.
She's no more interested she's totally there to subvert, and she's on the list of the famous 16. She's on the list there, and she is there one of her jobs is to literally eradicate Christianity from Ireland. And she'll do that through Tuam, and then she couldn't find any real evidence, even though she says they were in the sewers. They weren't. They were in marked graves. If people want to look at Tuam hoax on YouTube, they can check for the facts. And then she's extended that, and now she's after the Scouts. And this, apparently, I have a cousin who lived in America for a decade, and he said this is exactly what happened in the States. And they're recopying the exact same recipe now for Europe. Because they want to undermine anything that has any Christian organization. The boys go away. They want to, through that they can eliminate gender. They want to eliminate gender completely. So boys going away for the weekend, learning how to camp, learning how to start a fire, how to, tie a rope, all those things, bonding, boys bonding together. All of that, they want that gone. So now she's telling them they shouldn't go away for the weekend. This is only the beginning. And they're going to use scandals the way they do with the Catholic Church. This is the same. Some of those people are pedophiles. It's all they actually want to bring it all down, crashing down. They want to bring in a new world religion and a new world currency. And they'll do it through subversion, propaganda and scandal. And you will have people ranting and raving about the Catholic Church, but they won't rant and rave about the pedophiles in the elite class. There's never any of that on the news, on Murdoch TV.
Pedophilia is part of their religion. Pedophilia, they're allowed to marry children. There's some imams who say even from a baby, from a newborn.
And in Islam, yeah. That's why they're so easy on them.
Yeah, they don't say one word against them.
Well, they're going to plan a Chrislam package.
From that fake Pope.
And this is all deception, People they're going to be told, it's for humanity, for peace, for the climate, we all have to live together, and there's no such thing as race, and there's no such thing as culture, and your language. We all have to speak the same language. The next thing do you know what I mean? It's going to be literally a one world government. That's what they're aiming for. And people think this is a dream, but they have actually that amount of power. That's how much power they have. That's the scary part.
I'd say that the actual language is going to be Arabic. It would make more sense in English.
No, I don't think so. No, people are going to fight. They want fight. They want to fight. They want the two to get to a point where the tension builds up and they fight each other and there's a lot of bloodshed. They want that so that they can rise like the phoenix.
Absolutely.
When the Brits finally cop on that they're being colonized, I think they will take to the streets, and
Well, the British have already.
No, I mean to fight, and the other side are well prepared. By accident saw them preparing with long knives. They're waiting to come out with the long knives and take the head off the Brits. I'm serious. I saw them doing it. I saw it on Facebook by accident. I don't know how I got onto it. And they were exercising and everything together, all the Muslims together, doing these chanting and dancing, and they had the knives they had were about 15 inches long. And it was then removed. And it looked like they were preparing for
they've been preparing for 30 years. Islam have been preparing for a long time. You look at every mayor in the UK, in most counties, are actually Muslims. And even the Home Secretary in the United Kingdom is also a Muslim. They've been doing that for 30 years, while the white nationalists have been getting locked up. But, where Well, I'm even calling them the white. Now that's how bad it is. You start using their bloody language.
Yeah, well,
Uh,
I mean, that's the brainwashing, and we have it everywhere. I mean, you have it even on the TV. You see, I mean, it's just even AIB and all these ads. You know, they're planting a black man with a white woman, or a white man with two black. It's just unbelievable. They wouldn't do that in China, for example. But you see, they're targeting the little kids because at least we can think. I mean, we're older than we can. I mean, even then you have to, at some point you have to say, what, you know, why is everybody one of one and one of the other? But it's never, because it's in all the ads. It's in VHI, it's in On Post, it's in,
yeah.
you know, welfare, social welfare website. It's everywhere.
In fact,
And
I'd say
it's anti-white.
I'd say there's more black people now in ads, considering there's, I don't know what the population of the African Irish or whatever the African community here is, but, you know, it's not representing the indigenous population. But they want to pretend that the indigenous population can be any colour, particularly black. That's what they want to pretend.
Even, you know, that's why they're aiming for the May elections.
Oh yeah, there's going to be majority of them will be.
Posters are going to be up soon, people, and you're going to be seeing, you know, people from everywhere who are foreign from another country, and they have probably been approached because they're Chinese or black or African or wherever, and it's only for that reason they've been approached. That's what you have to just say. It's the truth. Just say it. That's the only reason. Because they're as qualified or maybe less qualified.
Absolutely.
And some of them are even illegal. Some of them not even citizens.
Some of them don't even speak English properly or even been educated.
No, some of them can't.
Primary level. It's insane. They don't care.
I mean, that's going to be the first time ever that people are going to see posters with illegal asylum seekers going up for election, you know, who spoofed their way into Ireland.
Well, Sinn Féin
failed the application and appealed, and is still, and now, I mean, it's just, you've got to realise there's absolutely no point in voting for any of those parties. They're all subversive parties, every single one of them. And people before profit, I mean, they're little communists.
Yeah.
Labour, you can throw them in the dustbin. Fianna Fáil, Fine Gael, in the bin. Saros Féin, finished. Basta, gone. Time to move on, literally, to sweep the board.
It's just quite a big task to take on. And I don't see any parties that are really reaching, like,
no.
And then that's the sad thing, is like, you know, even Gemma Doherty and Rantorino, myself and other people who are doing it, it's not reaching enough people to actually change anything, unfortunately, and that's the reality of it.
Well, she's recruiting if people want to join, and I mean, the more people join, it depends, you know. If she gets an army of people, they can all go in their own areas. Say she gets 100 from each county in Ireland. She can.
Yeah, we all should join.
You can send them out, you know. She can send them out like the troops, like a spider's web, to connect with people who are not on the internet, who don't hear these shows or anything. Yeah. It depends, you know, and power in numbers, you know, sign up. It's anti-corruption Ireland. I think it's anti-corruption Ireland. Or you go onto YouTube and listen to some of the live, you know, the cast, the interviews, especially Robert Pye, because he was right in the middle of it, and he will tell you straight out, we are at war. They're just not rolling in the tanks. You just don't see it, but it's a silent war that's going on.
There's more dangerous this war because people don't see it, but at least with tanks people see it, and I think this is more dangerous.
And it's more than that. They're not only this 5G, people need to realize that this is on a grid, so they have to fell the trees because it doesn't travel well. So they have to have one on each pole, say, or they have it in the street furniture you're sitting on could have 5G, and you could be getting all those rays into you and you don't even know it. But the point is that it's on a grid. So somebody in a control room somewhere can actually access, they can see through and hear into your house, and they can like see your wine collection, or they can see if you're in or out. This is the kind of technology we're dealing with here.
Crazy.
It's on a grid, so it's like, you can, it's like a camera, you can see, say they have a center, like a room, like a control room, like, as if you were in the airport and the control tower, and you can actually pick an area and look into, scan through the houses, and do you know what I mean? Like it's totally invasive, totally illegal. And that's why they're doing it on the quiet. And people don't understand why trees are being felled all over the country. This is why 159 post offices were closed, and they've closed the Garda stations, and the banks are closing, and they're trying to herd people into urban areas, away from the rural areas.
They're making rural life as difficult as possible, so they have to move in.
Yeah, 159 post offices. Yeah, they're breaking up the communities and the sense of community, and they're breaking, and they're getting people to put their money and their social welfare to get it through the banks, and soon that'll be cashless, and so they're going to force people onto, people who can't use computers are going to be forced into all this. This is just, technology is horrendous. Like, I mean, they're heading for a social credit system like they have it in China, where if you're a good boy or a good girl, you can go on holidays, but if you didn't do what you were told, they won't let you travel. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
This is the kind of technology that this is the control that they want. So it's a form of communism, but it's like a high-tech George Orwell type of thing, The all-seeing eye. It's turning out to be true, this all-seeing eye, the top of the pyramid.
Yeah, illuminate.
It's turning out to be true. They'll literally be able to see you in your sitting room. They'll be able to listen in on your conversation. Not as it's already bad enough with the television spying on you in your fridge, but I mean, they'll soon be able to see and it's on a grid. So there's a central country. They can follow you everywhere you go. Do
you think any country will be saved from this?
It's been rolled out all over Europe and all over the States.
Do you think everybody is going down? You don't think any country will survive?
I think they're gonna try and cull millions. Yeah.
So you don't think any country is going to...
Either by dropping a bomb and inventing some fake event, like they did with 9/11, and then another event, or through literally making people sick and die, through this technology and culling them that way. The slow kill, the soft kill. It's totally illegal, 5G. They've no right. They've no right to put it there. That's why they're doing it covertly. Just like they had no right to put all that information on those social welfare cards, whatever they were, that ID card, taking biometric photos and everything. And there was a woman on the radio who had retired, and she wouldn't give the information, so they cut her pension.
Jesus.
Remember that? That was a while ago. And she said, you've no right to have all that information. And she was dead right. But she was clued in, you see. Most people handed over the information, and they did a biometric photo with their retina, their eye retina, and everything was recorded. Just like a fingerprint. And people don't know it's a biometric photo. And they 2 million people signed up. And then the data protection people started to question Regina Doherty, who then was stumbling through she was fobbing them off with some nonsense, but it was totally illegal what they did. It's the exact same thing. We have a subversive government.
It is scary. I'd love to think that there would be one country or one place in the earth that will be saved, but I know Ireland is gone. We have no chance. There is absolutely, I have no belief in Ireland at all, or that we will come out of this.
God. Well, we'd have 800 years of fighting back.
I know. I think
we did always fight back, even when they had nothing. They had they didn't have any arms or anything. I mean, I know they were up against it, but they
I've
still fought back.
worked on the education, and they've really gone through from college education, from right down to from kindergarten right up to college. So they have been for a long time being brainwashed.
That's what they're trying. Because it's up to us to protect them or to wake them up. But when I was looking at one of the things, I think maybe one of the discussions with Gemma O'Doherty, I could see there's a live chat, so I could see some of the comments rolling along, and there was a 17-year-old saying, that they were saying, oh, please, I don't want to grow up in an Ireland where I'm the minority. Imagine at 17 having to worry about that.
And we are going to be the minority I just don't see any hope for Ireland. I do see hope for other countries, and I do think they will fight back. Like Austria have now made their refugee centre into departure centres, and this is no joke. They've actually turned them into departure centres. So the refugees now, they've closed all the centres, and basically the refugees who come in, they tell them how to leave Austria, and they help them get back to their countries of the origins. On that, I have hope for countries like that. Ireland, no. There will be a lot of deaths and a lot of damage if they ever come back. I really have no hope. But Austria, even Italy, I can see a fight in the Italians, a fight in the French as well. I can see a fight in the Greece. The Irish, nothing. There's nothing happening. There's a bit of talking, a few people talking, and there's a bit of this and a bit of that. But nothing like that.
Well, I mean, they did try to do a Not My Taoiseach demonstration, and then they have people watching Facebook, so they blocked the whole street. I could
really showed up. To be honest with you, there was an absolutely disgrace the amount of people who showed up. It was a handful.
But
there isn't a fight back here.
They're just bullying them, The people in Lisdoonvarna voted against that migrant hotel farce of a thing.
They don't care. But that's what I'm saying. There isn't a fight here. Like, you look at Italy, you look at Hungary, you look at Austria, there's a fight. Even the Germans themselves, they are beginning to fight. There isn't that uproar here. And maybe it hasn't happened. Maybe they but I just don't know whether it's actually going to happen here. The Italians, everybody are fighting. The Irish are not. There is the squeak that's out is Gemma O'Doherty, Rant, Torino. There's a handful of people, and there's a handful that listen. It's not like hundreds of thousands. Even with the British, there's a lot more. Like Tommy Robinson, he put out a thing about Palomar, that documentary, Panamara, where they're supposed to be real reporting, and he caught them making up fake stories about him, trying to criminalise him, trying to get this girl to say that he came on to her and he was sexually, that he did sexual stuff to her. He actually says this to her, and this is supposed to be a leading journalist, and they try and stitch him up, and it was called, we're going to stitch out Tommy Robinson, and they went to this girl who was a leftist, and for some reason she had kind of, it was a step too far to come after Tommy, that she actually contacted him and said, look, I've been contacted, they're coming after you. And
but there's other people that say he's, paid off by Zionists. I don't know. I think it's very hard to trust anyone.
Absolutely. But
except the people like the Irish people themselves. They're the only ones.
A lot of people want to believe that because he is waking a lot of the British up. He's waking people up, and people don't like that. They have to spread bullshit stories about it because he's woken up pretty much the UK, single-handedly woken up the UK. And it's the leftists who hate it because everything he said has proven to be correct. Everything.
Yeah, but the net migration to the UK from outside the EU is at the highest level it's been in 15 years.
Absolutely.
So 261,000. Non-EU.
Ours pretends it's from the EU, but look around. Look at all our streets. They're not bloody from the EU. And the statistics we get is supposed to be the highest amount of migration into Ireland is supposed to be from Britain. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to work out they're not bloody British.
But
They
you have
may
to
have
say so. The
landed
chief
in
of,
Britain, but
they're sneaking they're sneaking in, and their visa has run out, and some of them are, I mean, the highest amount of indirect provision are from Pakistan. There's no
well,
war in Pakistan.
is because of Britain. And because we had always, anyway, it was always going to be a problem because Britain was a colonial country. With Pakistan and India, they had a right to come in like they do with us, a right to come in
Well,
and out of their country.
the right, I don't know about the right. I mean,
I think, yeah, it was something to do with once England had, because of the colonialist path, they had sort of a
no, that's
deal
fake
with most
news.
countries.
No, they are trying to ethnically cleanse England. The elite who run England, who
Really?
control the
And they
money.
have.
They are
But they
trying to ethnically
already
cleanse
have.
them.
Since Tony Blair, he really flooded them.
Bradford with 99 mosques. I mean, for God's sake. And they're bullying the British people, the natives. This is where
Absolutely.
it gets too much to take when you're bullied in your own country. It's too much.
Well, they're bullying us. There's no cry here. At least the British, you see, they're fighting back, and I think you may not feel it's the right thing, the Brexit thing. And I agree with you to a point that the UN is the bigger problem. But at least out there fighting, they're saying we want this. Now it may not be the right fight, but at least they're fighting. Where's the fight from the Irish? Where's our exit fight? Where's any fight? To stop the migration to UN Pact. Anything. Any word from the Irish.
I think some of them don't even know about it.
No, I don't think they do.
I mean, the only way it was spread was online. It wasn't announced. That's another thing Robert Pye was talking about. He said, I am so angry, and it's so refreshing to hear some common sense and some justified anger at, this UN Migration Pact. He said there wasn't one word about it. They were hiding it and ducking and doing everything they could to divert the Irish people's attention from it. And he's fuming. This is the silent war we're in. It's a covert silent war that has been launched. And yeah, definitely there's still a lot of people to wake up. Literally, that's why people should join.
TV, and I will say this about the British, that they have representation from both sides. Ireland, if it's completely leftist, they will only answer, it's like as if they only invite, like say even in the abortion referendum, there was only leftists on all those. You didn't see anybody with conservative views kind of saying anything about abortion. And they said, they admitted it, we don't have to give equal balance on media.
It's on the ads on YouTube. It was a complete farce. The whole thing was rigged.
But at least in the UK, there is a balance. There is a balance about what their discussion is, and they make sure that there is a balance. That there is people on each, if you watch any of their talk shows, that there's people from both sides.
Yeah, but they're full of agents as well. They're full of agents as well, full of traitors. Their government, full of bribed pawns.
At least when you watch British TV, you know that there's another side to an argument.
Well, they didn't talk about the UN Migration Pact. They didn't tell the British. Why didn't they tell them about that? They did put it in the paper, but they certainly didn't discuss it. A lot of people in Britain don't know about the UN Migration Pact.
Yeah,
they signed.
I'm more aware of it than the Irish, though, to be honest with you. From what, I interview and I talk to a lot of British, and I do think there's a lot more of them awake, and there's a lot more of them aware, and they find it pretty shocking. I think that they're so set up with what's going on and not being stuck into Europe, that's really holding them down. Yeah, the US. I think they think that they can deal with it once they're out of the EU, but I think they feel very trapped in the EU and they just need to get out. And they feel very, very done by the Irish, and they're not just blaming the Irish government. Unfortunately, a lot of them do blame the Irish people. And that's not going to come well for us after the British leave for trade and everything.
We have nothing to do with it. I mean, we've nothing to do. And we have this lunatic for a Taoiseach.
I know, but unfortunately, they don't see that. They think because that so-called Taoiseach and our media and everything only represent one
Yeah,
side of the argument.
they
They
do
don't
tell us.
get to see the
Yeah.
other side of the argument. And there's, the people that are speaking out, they're not getting huge numbers, so the English don't hear about them. Now
I don't hear that
talk
a lot
a
of
lot,
us want out of
and
the
they're
EU, that's for
quite
sure.
shocked. So,
Mm.
like, our when Brexit happens, and it will happen, I do believe that the British will leave with no trade, with no deal. But it will really, the biggest price that will pay for this is the Irish, because of what the Irish government have gone. He literally said, I am the
They want to
European
destroy
Union.
us. They want to destroy us, the
Yeah.
pawns we have in government. They're not a government. They're only
They're
posing as
not.
a government.
He said to them, I am the European Union.
He's a mental.
And it's like a few days ago, like I think it was Friday or Thursday, they seized 2 ships because they said it was going too close to the Republic. I'm not joking. They're looking to start a war with the British. Like, you can't do this. Like, it's our biggest trade partners. We have our trade partners. We have had such long history. We can't. We're such a small country. But they're like literally threatening them with the EU. It's like Brussels are backing me, na 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 na. It's really, really dangerous games, and the British will have nothing to do with the Irish after this because the government are making sure of
Well,
that.
they want us to be bankrupt. They want it. That's what he was saying, Robert Pye. It was all planned to remove sovereignty.
They did a very bloody good job of it because
And
without
apparently, you might even need a second bailout. And then the interest rate is the lowest it's ever been, so they're going to bring that up a few percent and really finish us off. Unless there's going to be riots.
I hope there is going to be riots.
And I don't believe that May or any of them are independent. They're all taking instructions. They're all pawns.
But at
The elite
least
controls
she hides it a lot better. Now, because I do think she's
they're
frightened.
very good actors and actresses, but that's all they are.
No, I totally agree with you.
But another one.
Absolutely, but I think the difference with the British is that I do actually think she is frightened of the British public. The Irish government's not. They couldn't care less.
They should be bloody frightened. I hope they lynch a lot of them.
Yeah.
When they finally wake up, the British, I mean.
Oh, they're a lot waker
they should be frightened. The Irish government should be frightened because the Irish people do. I still believe they have a bit of fight in their belly, because really, it would be too disgraceful not to fight back after everything, all the people that died for us, for our so-called freedom. It turned out it wasn't. It turned out that the day they were all killed and moved out of the way, that the next day they were starting to subvert Ireland bit by bit through the decades, and now they're arriving now at their end game.
Yeah, well, I believe De Valera has an awful lot to answer for it, in my opinion. I think De Valera and that Bishop McQuaid really, after independence, after Michael Collins was shot, it really started to go downhill from there. They've made decisions to actually take it over. Well, they did. They made it an agreement that instead of
they're still after our country.
They're
still after it. We're at war.
Yeah.
They're trying to colonize us now, as well as everything, and then they might even try to starve us and collapse the banks, and they definitely want the farmers off the land, and they want 5G, and they want you to be tracked every move you make.
Yeah. Well, they will collapse. That's the next thing. Brexit will happen. The British will be pissed off with the Irish. The biggest people who will pay for this is the farmers, because it's agriculture, because we've similar tastes. So that's where we sell most of our products, like our
They've always used us as a breadbasket.
So they will use other people because of the way the government have gone about this, and that is our agriculture gone overnight.
And Coveney, I mean, there's another one. A lot of them, I can't even bear to even see him on television. I just can't even see him. I could literally get a knife. I just can't even stand their treason.
It's disgusting. I feel the same. I have to report
I
every
literally
day.
would have to rein myself in. I'm becoming enraged at this stage. But I wish people would become more enraged because they're actually too soft and they get off the fluoride, you know, and just try and get fit and turn on their critical thinking. They're being bullied by people like Flanagan and all these little traitors.
I said for a long time it's not going to happen unless Irish are willing to actually set up hedge schools and set it back up to what it was basically like in the famine, pretend we're back in the famine. And then, if people are willing to set up communities from scratch, that means hedge schools, re-educating children about who they are, their culture.
Well, yeah. Well, maybe, yeah.
And that's what it has to go back to. But I can't see the Irish willing to do it again. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe, until they actually decide that they need to strip everything and stop recognising this regime.
Well, Robert Pye said that if we don't fight, he said clearly, if we don't fight as if we were in the Battle of Clontarf, we might as well forget it because they are going to take everything, strip everyone of every piece of property, of every piece of wealth, of everything they've got. They're going to leave Ireland bare. That's the plan. And he said, if we don't fight, stand up and fight as if we were in a battle, like in Clontarf, we're finished.
But again, I'm going to let you go. Listen, thank you so much again for coming on the Bon Marie Show. It was fabulous to hear from you. And hopefully next week, maybe there'll be a shining that we'll hear of some hedge schools setting up for, a community.
Sign up to the Anti-Corruption Ireland, and join the army.
Everybody should be joining up to something and should be waking up.
Handing out leaflets, or if you're living, no matter what county you're living in.
I mean, not everybody
people together.
But everybody should be getting involved in one way or another, even if it's simple as, talking to a person.
Just handing leaflets out and visiting your town. If you had 100 people in each county, even that.
Absolutely. And whatever you can do, how little or how big it is, everybody should be getting involved. And we should all be coming together. All of the Conservatives should be coming together and having a voice, a strong voice, and not have so many...
Being bullied for so long. But I wouldn't even call it Conservative, I'd call it common sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Just about sick of the bullying now.
Absolutely.
Okay, so we'll talk again.
We'll talk next week. Thank you so much, Eileen. It was fabulous to have you on the show again. And thank you very much for your input. It's interesting. We all need to kind of, keep going, however little or however big it is. As Eileen said, if it's just leaflets, if it's just talking, do whatever your input is, because you are part of the problem. If you're not putting anything, you're not willing. You are part of the problem, because by turning your eyes away from it, you're part of the problem, and you will be part of the blame for one.
That's the way they want people. They want them to be little sheep,
terrified,
and they're circling us like wolves now.
Absolutely. So everybody, take part in whatever you can do. Get online, teach people, and help whatever it can be. That's it. I think we do need to do communities. Again, Eileen, thank you very much, and we'll talk next week.
Okay.
Enjoy it.
Bye.
You are listening to Irish News Radio at irishnews.net. Email news@irishnews.net.